To test his strength against the divine tree, the Emperor transformed into a form resembling Yuziu. Witnessing this, both Nine Tails and Xiaoling were utterly shaken. Nine Tails exclaimed in disbelief. He actually turned into the master's form. A wary expression spread across Nine Tails' face, cold sweat dripping down her temples. It wasn't just the appearance. Even the aura and spiritual energy were perfectly replicated, without the slightest deviation. That was what truly terrified her about the Emperor. A boss-level battle was about to unfold. Yuziu, the mightiest divine tree, was going head-to-head against the powerful Emperor. Beside them, the fused tree beast, though battered beyond recognition, still laughed shamelessly. Ha ha ha! Exotic tree is dead meat this time. The Emperor's spiritual energy is many times stronger than his. A flicker of worry flashed through Xiaoling's eyes. She couldn't help but wonder, could her master really win? At that moment, the Emperor spoke in a deep voice. Then let me witness the power that defeated the darkness. With that, an overwhelming surge of spiritual energy erupted from his body, so intense and violent it distorted the space around him. Yuziu responded calmly, his demeanor brimming with unmatched composure and pride. A confident smile flashed across the divine tree's face. In that case, it's time I reveal my true power. As soon as he finished speaking, another spatial rift tore open in the sky. The fused tree beast cried out in panic. He hasn't even gone all out yet? The space rift continued to widen, and from within, a powerful aura surged outward. The Emperor's gaze shifted toward the rift, analyzing it. In the blink of an eye, the divine tree emerged in his strongest form. In the hollow of his trunk was a glowing green orb and two imposing horns. This very detail confirmed that this was the divine tree's true form. What stood out even more was the tree's exterior. A metallic luster radiated from his bark, as though his entire body had been forged from a divine alloy. The light reflected from his form made the skies shimmer with an otherworldly brilliance. Seeing the divine tree's true self appear, the fused tree beast gasped in terror, his voice trembling in disbelief. That spiritual energy, it surpasses powerful. It's on par with the Emperor. No, beyond that. The immense pressure crashed down like a storm, leaving Xiaoling breathless. She clutched her chest, struggling to inhale. I can't breathe anymore. Fall back! She cried out to Nine Tails, panic thick in her voice. Yuziu calmly patted his chest and explained, every time I reach a new spiritual realm, my body undergoes reconstruction to withstand the overwhelming power. As he spoke, a sharp glint flashed in his eyes. And now this is my completely new form. What comes next is how I fight. Before he could finish, an alarm rang in the Emperor's heart. A deep sense of unease surged from within. Yuziu stood tall, radiating a boundless fighting spirit. His voice rang out with unshakable strength. Emperor, this planet will never be yours. As his words fell, a golden dust storm began swirling around his body, encasing him like an evolutionary cocoon. With every part that emerged from the dust, a new piece of his battle form was revealed. First, a slender hand, then a cold, resolute face, followed by powerful legs. When the final layer of dust dispersed, the divine tree's full form was revealed, radiant like a descending deity. His ultimate combat form fully awakened. In that very moment, he declared once more, his voice thundering like a storm, Earth, you will never take it. In that instant, the divine tree's overpowering presence left everyone in awe. One couldn't help but exclaim inwardly. He was godly handsome to the extreme. The Emperor, irritated by the divine tree's constant posturing, finally snapped, What's the use of talking? He growled, Prove it with strength. With those words, he thrust his hand forward and unleashed a grand technique. Blazing rain of ash. Instantly, countless fiery sparks shot from his palm and swarmed toward the divine tree, exploding in a brilliant, synchronized barrage. But the divine tree only sneered, unfazed. Without giving the Emperor a chance to complete his technique, he countered immediately with his own thunderstorm suppression. From his palm, a torrent of violet lightning surged like a waterfall, crashing down upon the Emperor. In mere seconds, the Emperor was drenched in a thunderous downpour of lightning. Worst of all, he hadn't even finished casting his spell before being struck. His screams echoed through the skies, AGH. As the lightning coursed through him, causing the fused tree beast's eyes to bulge in shock, he didn't even dare blink. frozen as he looked toward his master. Shaolin clenched her teeth and extended her hand forward to shield herself from the aftershocks of the battle. As the divine tree's lightning storm faded, the Emperor wasted no time retaliating. Without hesitation, he cast one of the divine tree's signature moves, temporal suspension. Instant. He had always found the technique intriguing and wanted to try showing off with it himself. Upon casting, the divine tree's movements froze. Time itself seemed to halt in the space around him, locking everything in eerie silence, seizing the moment. The Emperor then unleashed another one of the divine trees. Deadly combos. 9-rooted strike, the same devastating move the divine tree had used earlier to reduce the fused tree beast to a pulp. Surprisingly, the Emperor wielded the stolen technique with fluid precision. Immobilized by temporal suspension, the divine tree was unable to defend himself and was struck full force by the 9 piercing roots, each hit landing with a resounding crack against his body. But then, the divine tree's form began to flicker and blur before fading entirely. It was an illusion. From behind the Emperor, the real divine tree struck without hesitation, launching a massive burst of spiritual energy straight at his opponent. The force of the attack hurled the Emperor backward, his body engulfed in radiant energy, vanishing into the distance. When the light dissipated, the Emperor was revealed some distance away, his body battered but still standing, and yet he laughed, as if the divine tree's devastating strike had merely tickled him. The divine tree, however, felt he hadn't welcomed the Emperor properly yet, so, without delay, he activated one of his ultimate techniques, brilliant galaxy severance. In an instant, countless crescent blades shimmered into existence, glinting with the light of distant galaxies, and shot toward the Emperor. This time, the Emperor dared not be careless. He hastily summoned a massive earthen wall using elemental earth magic, throwing it forward in hopes of blocking the deadly barrage. But in the blink of an eye, his expression froze. One blade pierced the wall, then a second, then dozens, hundreds. Each crescent slash sliced through the sturdy wall like a knife through brittle crackers. A relentless storm of celestial blades rained down on the Emperor, accompanied by deafening explosions. The entire area was swallowed by smoke, shattered rock, and obscuring dust. Yet that still wasn't the end. The divine tree, moving like lightning, shot forward and delivered a brutal punch directly into the Emperor's single eye. A devastating close-range strike that the Emperor couldn't dodge or block. At that moment, the divine tree spoke coldly. So this is how you use temporal suspension. Instant. Without waiting for a reply, he demonstrated the correct way, activating the technique again. Time within 100-meter radius ground to a halt. Everything froze. The falling debris hung midair like suspended dust motes. The world turned eerily still. Only the divine tree could move. Slowly, he twisted his body, channeling all his strength into a single punch, one specifically for the Emperor. The Emperor stood motionless, locked in the frozen moment. Though unable to move, his thinking remained unaffected. His single eye focused sharply on the divine tree, and right then, a chill of foreboding flickered in the divine tree's instincts. Just as his punch was about to land, the Emperor suddenly broke free from the suspended time. He countered instantly, his own fist blazing with lethal energy. A thunderous retaliatory strike surged straight toward the divine tree. Witnessing this scene, Nine Tails and Shaolin were left speechless. Mouths agape, eyes wide in shock. Even the usually talkative fused tree beast was struck dumb. Two boss-level beings were clashing in a battle of titans. Every second was tense. Each exchange turned the tide, and no one, not even the bystanders, could tell who would emerge victorious in the end.